My beloved ones, chosen not by chance but by divine designation, I come before you today not as a stranger of the soul, but as one who has walked the long and crooked road of human living. I come not with fanfare, not with clashing cymbals or trembling trumpets, but with a voice carved from the same clay as yours, molded by joy and sorrow, lifted by grace and burdened by truth. The hour is neither ordinary nor still. The moment is trembling with meaning. And if you listen, not with ears alone but with the deep and reverent muscle of spirit, you will hear it too. Everything around you is speaking, no more than speaking. It is wailing, it is shouting, it is whispering in ways only the soul can decipher. Chosen ones, everything around you is warning you. God wants your attention now. The wind has shifted. The air that brushes your skin carries more than dust or dew. It carries longing, a sacred urgency. Have you not noticed how the sun hangs differently in the sky, how time bends itself strangely, how days blur and nights press heavy against your chest? The world is not as it was, and it is not merely the earth groaning under the weight of wars and wildfires, under the suffocating grip of greed and grief. No, it is not just the news that brings tremors to your peace. It is something else. It is the divine stirring the silence, reaching through the fabric of your distractions and asking, no, demanding your awareness. Chosen ones, this is not the time for slumber. This is not the hour for apathy wrapped in routine. God is calling you not with anger, not with shame, but with thunder in one hand and tenderness in the other. And if you continue to move about your life with your head bowed to glowing screens, and your heart tethered to temporary things, you will miss the call. It is not the kind of call that comes once. No, God is patient, relentless in mercy, persistent in grace. You see it when a child's laughter softens your hardened mood. You hear it in the breaking of waves, in the rhythm of your own breath. You witness it in the moment your plans fall apart only to make room for something finer, something more fitting for your soul's becoming. God is not hiding, dear ones. God is not the wind that disappears when chased, nor the mountain that mocks the climber. God is the whisper behind the ache in your chest. The divine is the ache itself. That moment you pause in a busy day and feel the weight of your own being. That is not exhaustion alone. That is a summons. That is the spiritual knocking at the door of your consciousness. And I ask you now, will you answer? You who are professionals, students, mothers, builders, teachers, ministers, wanderers, you who wake up each day to the machine of modern life, do you know how deeply the sacred relies on your awakening? We speak of purpose as if it is a luxury, a sweet garnish on a life already full. But no, purpose is not decoration. It is the reason your breath continues each morning. And yet many of us live as if we are on loan to this world, as if we are background players in a drama already written. But you were not made to merely endure. You were chosen to illuminate. God placed a fragment of divine fire within you, not to keep it buried under schedules and skepticism, but to tend to it, to fan it into a blaze that burns through illusion and brings light to the dark corridors of this aching world. Still, many will resist. I know, many will say, I am not holy, I am not strong, I am not ready. But God never called the flawless, God calls the willing. Think of the prophets, the poets, the unlikely leaders. Think of the trembling ones who said yes with shaking voices. They did not come to the altar of purpose wearing crowns. They came weary, they came wounded, but they came. And so must you. If you wait until you feel worthy, you will die waiting. And the world, dear ones, the world does not have time for your delay. There are children right now wondering if anyone sees them. There are communities on the brink of collapse, not for lack of resources, but for lack of vision, lack of compassion. The earth itself is waiting for you to remember who you are. Listen closely and you will feel it. The shift, the tremor. That meeting you missed was not just a missed appointment. That sudden illness was not merely biological. That relationship that unraveled so painfully, it did not break you, it broke something in you that needed to be broken. Every disruption is not disaster. Sometimes it is divine design. What if your heartbreak is the curriculum God needed you to learn? What if your confusion is the fertile ground for your greatest clarity? What if the walls crumbling around you are the mercy of a God who knows you have built too many altars to false peace? Look around you. The signs are not subtle. The weather rages in unpredictable patterns. The oceans rise not only in temperature but in warning. The leaders stumble. The institutions falter. The old systems are gasping for breath. That is not only a political reality, it is a spiritual one. And in such times, chosen ones, you must ask, where am I placing my faith? Is it in policies? Is it in profit? Is it in personas, in carefully curated identities? Or is it in the timeless, trembling truth that you were made for such a time as this? When the thunder rolls, some run for cover, but the chosen stand still and listen. And what they hear is not chaos, it is instruction. Hear me now. You are not powerless. You are not irrelevant. You are not just a face in the crowd. You are a key part of a grand mosaic, a sacred web. And everything around you, from the breaking news to the birdsong, is conspiring to wake you up. Wake you up to your voice. Wake you up to your responsibility. Wake you up to the deep love of a God who refuses to leave you to your slumber. I do not come to shame you. I do not come with wagging finger or high hand. I come instead, like the grandmother who has seen the road before you. I come to tell you what I wish someone had told me when I wandered in my own wilderness. I come to say, your pain is not a punishment. Your confusion is not failure. It is the fog that precedes a great unveiling. But only if you lean into it. Only if you allow it to teach you, to shape you, to awaken your hunger for something more than comfort. For we are not here to be merely comfortable. We are here to be conscious. And consciousness, my loves, costs. It costs ease. It costs denial. But oh, the reward. The reward is clarity. The reward is alignment. The reward is knowing that you are where you are meant to be, even if it aches. And so I ask you now, where have you gone numb? Where have you settled for just enough? What dream did you bury because the world told you it was too much? What vision did you silence because someone once laughed at your voice? God is asking you to reclaim it. That holy ache in your belly, that restlessness that won't let you sleep in peace. That's not anxiety. That's not foolishness. That is calling. And calling doesn't always come dressed in angels and trumpets. Sometimes it comes in the quiet despair you feel in a job that starves your soul. Sometimes it comes in the inexplicable tears that rise when you hear a certain song, or see a certain light fall across a table. That is God, reminding you of your aliveness. You see, the sacred is not far off. It is not a separate thing, locked away in temples or scriptures. The sacred is here, in the injustice you cannot unsee, in the longing you cannot ignore, in the questions that will not die. It is here in your exhaustion too. Even in your weariness, God speaks, saying, rest, yes, but do not return to sleep. Heal, yes, but do not forget the call. For this world is groaning, and it needs the sound of your footsteps rising, steady, into your true purpose. The world needs your courage, your clear eyes, your sacred defiance, your inconvenient compassion, your love that refuses to look away. And when the moment comes, and it will come, when you stand before the door of your own deeper becoming, trembling and uncertain, I hope you remember this. You do not walk alone. The same God who calls you will sustain you. The same power that shook the mountains and parted the seas now lives in you. And it does not ask you to be fearless. It asks you to move despite your fear, to speak even when your voice quivers, to love even when it hurts. That is what it means to be chosen. So I leave you with this, not as a goodbye but as a beginning. Let the signs awaken you. Let the pain transform you. Let the divine reach you, even through the cracks. Listen to the warnings not with dread but with devotion. For they are not threats, they are invitations. God wants your attention now, not someday, not when it's convenient, not when the noise fades. Now, in the mess, in the mystery, in the miracle of your ordinary life, answer the call, chosen ones. Rise, not with frenzy, but with faith. The world waits, heaven watches, and your soul, your beautiful, wild, aching soul, already knows the way. And when you rise, yes, when you do, because you must, you will feel the weight of your choice. Not because you are wrong to rise, but because rising changes the shape of things. It alters the geometry of your relationships, your assumptions, your silence. People who once called you familiar may not recognize you. They may say you've changed, and they'd be right. You are changing. You are remembering, and not everyone can walk with you through that sacred remembering. Let them go with love, not bitterness, not pride, but with the same grace that was extended to you. For your journey is not theirs to carry, and their resistance is not your rejection. Sometimes the pruning is the blessing. Sometimes God removes what cannot go with you, so that what is meant for you may find you. Do not mistake the trembling for a sign you are not ready. The trembling is holy. It means your spirit is waking up. It means something ancient inside you is stretching, recalling the language of creation, the old stories, the sacred dreams, the wild purpose. It is all being resurrected within you. And resurrection is not clean. It is not neat. It is loud and aching and sometimes lonely. But it is necessary, because this world does not need more perfection. It needs presence. It needs people willing to be fully alive. And being fully alive means feeling all of it. The joy, yes, but also the heartbreak, the outrage, the wonder, the awe. There will be days you doubt it. Days when the call feels too big for the vessel. Days when your hands shake and your knees buckle and you wonder why you ever dared to say yes. Let me tell you, even on those days, especially on those days, you are not alone. The ground beneath you remembers your ancestors and they are cheering you on. The wind that wraps around your shoulders is not aimless. It is carrying the prayers of those who have come before you and those who will come after. You are part of a great lineage of the awakened, a chain of the chosen stretching across time, and every act of courage you offer adds strength to that chain. You are not just living for yourself. You are setting the stage for those who will rise when you are gone. So keep rising, keep listening, keep responding. This world is full of voices, but few of them speak truth. You will have to learn to discern. You will have to learn to pause before reacting, to listen beneath the noise, to find the thread of divinity that weaves through even the most mundane moment. It will not always be easy, but clarity never came cheap, and purpose, real purpose, costs something. It will ask you to lay down the things that once made you feel safe. It will ask you to surrender the illusions. It will ask you to trust what you cannot yet see. But oh, the glory of that trust. When you walk in alignment with the divine, you may not always know the destination, but you will always know the direction. And that direction, dear one, is forward. Always forward. You may ask, what does it mean truly, to give God my attention? It does not mean fleeing to mountaintops or locking yourself away from the world. It means being fully present within it. It means noticing the sacred where others see routine. It means treating your neighbor not as inconvenience, but as teacher. It means letting love interrupt your schedule. It means asking not only what you can gain, but what you can give. Attention is the currency of transformation. Where you place it determines what grows in your life. And God, that sacred whisper, wants your attention not to control you, but to co-create with you. You are not a pawn. You are a partner. The same spirit that spun galaxies seeks intimacy with you, not for ceremony but for communion. Do not be fooled by the glitter of empty pursuits. There are many who wear titles but live bankrupt of meaning. There are many who possess but do not belong. Do not envy their illusion. It is hollow. It will not hold in the storm. But you, your path is different. You are called to build from substance, not show. Called to lead not with domination but with depth. called to speak not with cleverness but with clarity and conviction. You are chosen not because you are perfect but because you are open. And if you remain open you will be led. And if you are led you will lead others. Not always by platform or power, but by presence. Sometimes, the most revolutionary thing you can do is pay attention. Attention to the cries of the marginalized. Attention to the patterns that bind you. Attention to the ways your own silence contributes to the very suffering you condemn. This is not easy work. It is not glamorous. It will not always be applauded, but it is holy. And the holy work is what changes the world. Not in fireworks but in the quiet dismantling of despair. You are not here to impress. You are here to impact. And your impact begins when you choose to notice what others ignore. When you choose to stay awake in a world that profits from your sleep. So breathe, chosen one. Not the shallow breath of survival but the deep breath of remembrance. Inhale the truth of your worth. Exhale the lie that you are too late, too much or too little. You are exactly on time. The signs that surround you are not coincidental. They are sacred choreography. Pay attention to the dreams that return again and again. Pay attention to the places your heart feels strangely at home. Pay attention to the discomfort that stirs when you deny your truth. These are not distractions. These are directions. They are compasses etched into your spirit. And they point you back to the center, back to the source, back to God. And when you do give your attention, truly give it not just in fleeting moments but as a posture of being, you will begin to see differently. You will see miracles where once you saw mundanity. You will hear wisdom in places you dismissed. You will touch the infinite in the everyday. That is not fantasy. That is faith. And faith is not passive. It is not wishful thinking. It is action rooted in the unseen. It is walking when the path has not yet appeared. It is planting seeds you may not live to harvest. But faith, dear one, is also power. It is the fuel of transformation. It is the fire that cannot be stolen. Let others laugh. Let them mock your surrender. Let them call your attentiveness foolish. You are not living for their applause. You are living for something eternal. And the fruit of your obedience will speak long after their noise fades. The work you do in secret, the prayer, the journaling, the quiet decisions to love when it's hard. These are not wasted. They are recorded in a language deeper than words, and they echo beyond what you can imagine. You may never see the full impact of your faithfulness. But trust me, it matters. It matters in ways the world cannot measure. So let the winds of change carry you. Let the voice of God find you. Let your attention become your offering, and in your offering, find your liberation. This is not just a moment, it is a movement. Not just a message, it is a mantle. And you, chosen one, are not just hearing it. You are part of it. You are becoming it. And when the time comes, and it will come, when you stand at the edge of a decision, and everything in you wants to retreat to the comfort of the known, remember this. You were not made for comfort. You were made for courage. And courage does not mean you do not tremble. It means you do not yield to the trembling. It means you move forward, even if your voice shakes, even if your feet falter, because what lies on the other side of that trembling is your truest self. The self God dreamed when you were formed in the dark waters of the womb. The self this world desperately needs. So walk on, chosen one. Walk on with tears in your eyes and fire in your bones. Walk on when they doubt you. Walk on when you doubt yourself. Walk on not because you are certain, but because you are committed. Committed to answering the call. Committed to giving God your attention, even when it costs you. Especially when it costs you. Because in the end, all that we build, all that we acquire, all that we perform, it will fall away. But what remains, what endures, is the love we chose, the truth we lived, the faith we practiced in the unseen. And when your time on this earth is done, may the world say not that you were successful, but that you were awake, that you listened, that you answered, that you lived, like someone who knew the sacred was not far off, but always near, always whispering, always waiting for our attention. May they say you burned with holy fire, not of judgment, but of justice. Not of fear, but of fierce, fearless love. This is the moment. This is the warning. This is the invitation. Everything around you is speaking. And now, beloved one, it is your turn to respond. Give God your attention. Not tomorrow. Not when it is easy. Now. Right here. Right in the thick of it. Because the world doesn't need more distractions. It needs you. Fully awake. Fully alive. Fully surrendered to what is calling you beyond the noise and into the sacred rhythm of your true divine becoming. And I know there will come a point in this journey, a silent evening, a lonely morning, a moment between breathing in and breathing out, when you will ask, is this really for me? You'll ask it not because you are uncertain of the message, but because the weight of the task feels like more than your hands can carry. And I will tell you now, as I would then, yes, it is for you. Not because you are the strongest, or the most eloquent, or the most prepared, but because you are the one who was listening. You are the one who felt the tug, heard the stirring, noticed the shift in the air. The call of the divine does not go to the obvious, it goes to the open. And if your heart has cracked open even slightly from this message, then yes, you are the one God is reaching for now. It will not always make sense. The signs won't always be clear. The path will be less a straight road, and more a winding trail that disappears behind the hills of uncertainty. But you must trust what you cannot yet see. Faith is not the absence of questions. It is the resolve to keep walking through them. And sometimes trusting God means walking in a direction with no confirmation other than the peace that fills your chest, or the tension that finally releases when you say yes to what your soul already knows. We spend so much time looking outside ourselves for permission, for validation, for some kind of divine billboard to affirm what we already feel stirring within. But God has already written the invitation in your bones. It is not waiting for the world's approval. It is waiting for your agreement. That agreement will require something of you. It will require you to clear the clutter, to silence the noise that numbs rather than nurtures. You cannot give your full attention to God while splitting your heart between distraction and destiny. There comes a time when the soul demands a deeper focus, a stillness that allows you to hear not only the thunder but the whisper beneath it. To attend to that stillness is an act of rebellion in a world obsessed with motion. But oh, what clarity waits there. Not the kind of clarity that gives you all the answers, but the kind that reminds you what questions are worth your life. The kind that helps you choose love when fear is easier, kindness when anger is justified, vision when comfort tempts you back to sleep. And let me say this, do not be afraid of being broken open. Some things can only be understood when we fall apart, and let the pieces teach us how to be whole again. The world has taught you to fear brokenness, but God sees it as the beginning of revelation. The crack in your composure might just be the place where light begins to enter. Do not patch it too quickly. Do not rush the healing. Let the breaking speak. Let it teach. Let it lead you to the deeper wisdom that lies beneath every ache. Pain, when we allow it to be sacred, becomes the soil for transformation. It strips us of illusion, frees us from pretense, and introduces us to our own depths. And in those depths, you will find the part of yourself that does not flinch, that does not retreat, that does not need to be applauded to move forward. You will find the one who is quietly faithful, who is fierce not in volume but in conviction. That part of you, steady, quiet and clear, is the one God is calling to rise now. You don't need to become someone new to answer this call. You need to become who you were before the world told you who to be. Strip away the false skins. Lay down the personas. You are not your productivity, your profile, or your polished answers. You are breath and fire and purpose wrapped in human form. You are a vessel through which divine truth can move. And that movement is no small thing. It is the heartbeat of change, the rhythm of renewal. And so I ask again, not to provoke fear, but to awaken faith. Are you listening? Are you watching what is unfolding around you? The shifting tides, the breaking systems, the rising cries of the weary and the wounded. Do not dismiss these as coincidences or chaos. They are warnings, not to scare you, but to stir you. This is not the end of the world, but it may be the end of pretending, the end of ignoring the soul's needs, the end of acting as if God's call is optional or occasional. It is not. It is constant, it is present, and it is becoming louder with every missed moment. Every time you ignore the ache for meaning, every time you silence the urge to speak truth, the call does not disappear, it grows, until it becomes impossible to deny. And when you finally respond, when you say yes in your full-hearted, trembling way, the landscape of your life will begin to shift. It will not always be dramatic. Sometimes it will be subtle. A conversation that lands differently, an idea that won't leave you alone, a new hunger for integrity that makes compromise feel like poison. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. God does not always send signs with lightning. Sometimes it's the quiet pull that keeps you awake at night. That is holy too. Honor it. Follow it. Let it lead you. You will not be perfect in this walk. There will be detours. You will falter, question, resist, and still God will not leave. Still the invitation remains. Grace is not a one-time gift. It is a river that keeps flowing, even when we forget how to swim. So swim again, wade in again, begin again. The sacred does not demand perfection. It longs for participation. Just show up. Show up with your questions, your longing, your wonder, your wounds. Show up messy, uncertain, and undone. God can work with that. God prefers the raw material of truth over the polished veneer of pretense. And know this, beloved. When you begin to give your attention to the divine, truly give it, you will begin to see others differently too. You will no longer look at people through the lens of judgment, comparison, or utility. You will begin to see them as God sees them, whole, even in their brokenness. Beloved, even in their confusion. You will begin to recognize the sacred, not just in the sanctuary, but in the street, in the stranger, in the parts of yourself you once cast aside. That is the power of attention. It sanctifies what it beholds. And if you learn to look through God's eyes, there is no such thing as an ordinary moment, no such thing as an unworthy person. This is the call to wake up, to pay attention, to live with your heart turned toward the sacred in all things. It is not an easy path, but it is the only path that leads to true peace. Not the peace of avoidance, but the peace that comes from alignment. The kind of peace that does not flinch in the face of pain, that does not retreat when the world grows dark, but stands firm because it is rooted in something eternal. That peace is waiting for you, not at the end of this journey, but along the way. It meets you every time you choose courage over comfort, truth over image, presence over performance. And if you listen, really listen, you'll hear it now. The signs are not subtle anymore. They are pressing in from every direction. The question is not whether God is speaking. The question is, are you listening? Are you willing to stop running, stop distracting, stop pretending? Are you ready to give your attention, your whole self, to the one who shaped you before you had language for longing? You will not regret it. The road will stretch you, but it will also heal you. It will refine you, yes, but it will also reveal you. Not the version the world asked you to be, but the one God designed with holy intention. So, rise now, not with fanfare but with faith. Rise not because you have all the answers, but because you're ready to start asking better questions. Rise because the world needs you. Not the perfect you, not the always confident you, but the real you, the listening, aching, awakening you, the you that knows deep down that the time is now, that everything around you, every storm, every silence, every scar, is trying to tell you something sacred. God wants your attention. Not someday. Not when it's convenient. Now. Now, beloved. Now. And when you stand in this now, in the trembling yet resolute truth of it, you will begin to feel what you were always meant to feel, that sacred tug between heaven and earth, pulling your spirit into alignment with something greater than ambition, deeper than fear, stronger than shame. The world will not slow down for your awakening. It will keep